Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Jacqueline. I am the chair of NYEMSC. Thank you all for joining us for our 2022 program director panel. We are super excited to we have like a total of 9 programs that are going to be represented here today, which is super exciting. And this is kind of the rundown so everyone can see who's here and, what the schedule is going to be like. So please, if you're in the audience, we have you all muted, but refrain from, interrupting and asking questions. We do have a brief Q&A at the end that will be moderated by Rachel and I. And I think we're just gonna go ahead and get started. So Dr. Jones from Jacobi will be first up. You can go ahead and share your screen if you have slides, or just feel free to start talking and I will spotlight you.
Great. Well, thank you, Jacqueline and Rachel, for putting this all together, and thank you all for joining. It's really it's a pleasure to be able to speak to all of you and to tell you a little bit about the best specialty in the House of Medicine, emergency medicine. I think you all picked right, and that's a good first step. And I will just say, as sort of the first person up, you couldn't possibly pick wrong with training in New York City, in the New York City area. There are incredible programs, incredible people, no matter where you go. A little bit about Jacobi and Montefiore. We're in the Bronx. That's the northern part of New York, the only part attached to the mainland of the country. 1975, we are the oldest emergency medicine program in New York, the 3rd oldest in the country. We've always been one of the biggest. There are more Jacobi and Montefiore graduates out there than any other program in the nation, but an alumni network of over 600 individuals. They span practice locations everywhere and anywhere. Here in New York, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Brooklyn, and Queens, and Staten Island, across the country, California, McMurdo Station in Antarctica, New Zealand, you name it, there's somebody from Jacobi and Montefiore there, working days, nights, weekends, whatever it may be. People in leadership, deans, chairs, vice chairs, program directors. I think maybe there's 1 or 2 program directors that might be joining us who once upon a time spent some time in the Bronx. 2 of the 3 most powerful women in emergency medicine, the president of AAEM and the president of CORD, actually I think recent past presidents, both Jacobi and Montefiore alum. 3 out of the 7 now Institute of Medicine members, that's the National Academy of Sciences, emergency physicians who sit on that council come from Jacobi and Montefiore. Incredible people, but more importantly, a really incredible place. Real estate, you guys know the deal, location, location, location. Our heart and soul is the Bronx. It's an incredibly unique and difficult practice environment, perhaps one of the most dangerous, most violent counties in New York. Trauma is unparalleled, healthcare disparities vast. Bronx 62 is a hashtag that trends on Twitter. Unfortunately, what does it mean? The Bronx is the 62nd out of 62 counties in New York State in terms of healthcare outcomes. That's the worst. And what does that mean? That means that people come to the emergency department, they come looking for hope, they come looking for help, they come not because they want to, but because they have to. And we get to be the individuals there to help them and to help them get through what is simply the worst moment in their life. A little bit about our departments and the training environment. 3 unique and distinct hospitals, Jacobi Medical Center, a level 1 trauma center, one of the busiest trauma centers in New York. I'll fight with Kings County at some point about who's busier. We're both really busy, and that's a sad reality of New York right now. The Montefiore Moses campus, a quaternary care center with a children's hospital. We've got a specialist for everything and everyone. And then the Weiler Emergency Department, a community-based ED where you see adults and kids right next to each other, get to practice that task switching opportunity that is really 90% of emergency medicine when you leave New York, and will be what you will practice in outside of New York City. Our residents, incredibly diverse group, over 50% female, 75% underrepresented minorities in medicine. We have multiple community-minded programs where not only do we see our patients in the emergency department, but we try to reach them out in their homes, in their communities, in their schools, and multiple programs to also engage our community and hopefully finding pathways and careers in medicine. Some of the other things happening in our department, we have some really incredible fellowships, an ultrasound fellowship that was one of the first in the nation and is fully accredited at this point and is continuing to have trainees. We have a research fellowship. We have 2 distinct pediatric emergency medicine fellowships at our Jacobi and our Montefiore campus. And we also have a healthcare administration fellowship on our Jacobi campus. What does that mean for you as a resident? A lot of opportunity, a lot of excitement, a lot of learning, and a lot of exposure to different opportunities and topics. A little bit about myself, and then I'll wrap up. I've been at Jacobi my whole career. It says one of 2 things about the place. It's a really wonderful place, or nobody else will hire me. I'd like to think that it is the latter. It is truly a wonderful institution with wonderful people who care deeply about a community that is in great need, and also care deeply about training the future of emergency physicians to help similar communities. Now, I'm going to stop there. I think that's my 5 minutes. I want to thank everyone for joining. I really look forward to the upcoming application season. I think that as a program director, it is one of the most difficult, but also one of the most fun times for us to be able to have the opportunity to meet young medical students, future physicians, and future leaders from all over the city and all over the country. Thank you. And thank you again, Jacqueline and Rachel, for putting this together. It really is wonderful to be here. And I look forward to hearing from all of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Jones. If you at all want to drop any contact information for your program, for you, whatever you would like, you can send it to me and I'll send it out to everyone, or you can put it in the chat. So next up, we have Dr. Manish Garg and Dr. Christy Leck from NYP Cornell, Columbia. And I'm going to just switch the spotlight now. Find Dr. Leck in here.
Jacqueline, can you also enable sharing?
Oh, yes, I should do that. Thank you. Okay, it should be fine now.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Rachel. I wanted to thank you both for inviting us here. We're so excited to share our program with you. Also just wanted to say and give a big shout out to you all. I think Mike did a great job speaking for all of us in the sense that you all are going to be our torchbearers for emergency medicine. You're going to wave the banner of emergency medicine wherever you go. And we are delighted to be able to share with you in the best house of medicine. And also just I'm excited to introduce my incredible and talented co-partner here, Dr. Christy Leck. We are going to talk, we're going to do something a little different here. If you can, since there's 2 of us, I thought it'd be nice to have a little conversation about some of the things that we love about our program. And if you want to check out our QR code on the side there, it'll give you access to our brochure. So you just have to snap that. And then you can kind of see a little bit more about our program. If you go to our website, you can check out our videos and all our different things. So just a little background about the program. So we are both Cornell and Columbia. So Cornell on the east side, like Upper East Side, Manhattan, and Columbia up in the Washington Heights area in the Upper West Side. We are 250,000. We are some of the top NIH funded researchers. We've had the president of SAM, the president of CORD, folks who have started a number of different innovative and creative different things. If you want that opportunity to be a clinician, scholar, that opportunity to be a beast as a clinician, somebody who's contributing to the scholarly questions and output and community out there, somebody who's an advocate, somebody who's an innovator, we think that this is a great program for you. So Christy, I wanted to invite you to answer a few different questions that we just kind of thought might be interesting for our program. What do you think are some of the favorite aspects you have of our residency program?
Hi, everyone. So thanks, Manish, for the intro. I'm Christy. I'm one of the APDs. One of the things that I think I selfishly, just like myself, is, when I came to Cornell, loving like the female mentorship that I had. Manish is the proud leader of 4 female APDs, which is, again, like a great support group, you know, for myself and definitely for the rest of the residents. So not only, I think, just the clinical opportunities that the residents are getting in the emergency department, but I think we often don't talk about like the other clinical opportunities that residents get that are not emergency medicine. So thinking about our ICU experience, we have our residents rotate through our burn ICU, which is one of the biggest, and I think one of the major, Manish would know the stats more so than me, at least in the Northeast. So the residents are seeing things that a lot of other residents, you know, may not get to see in terms of management, severity of burns. We're also the #1 orthopedics center with the Hospital for Special Surgery. So we see all of their patients as well. You know, they don't have an emergency department, so we get to see them. I feel like that's also a point of weakness that I think a lot of residents feel kind of going out about managing orthopedics, especially those that may want to go out to community practice. I do also think that we have great linkage with our community as well in terms of thinking about advocacy for our patients at both sites. And so all of those things, I think, really make it like a really unique opportunity in terms of the residency experience.
Yeah, if I could just add to, like, my favorite thing is obviously just like our people. I'm gonna flip forward into my thing. It's, you know, we consider this place a family. And one of the things that I love about our residents is they come from diverse backgrounds. They are so talented. They really embody a lot of humanistic qualities. And it's exciting as a program leadership when, you know, we're supposed to be the mentors who are inspiring them, but they inspire us every day with the work that they do. Just this last week, in fact, Sunday, I had a talk with all of our 4th years, talking about job hunts, getting them prepared, talking about all the different things. Tuesday, we had a journal club about simulation, and it was cool to go to a Dominican restaurant. Yesterday, we were out, we went and did bingo as a group, just kind of out there. So, you know, well-being, it's and just kind of building a family and making sure significant others are involved. I think that's something really special. Christy, what do you think makes for a successful resident in our program?
And so for this one, I think it's really more so like on us in terms of what are we doing to like help you be successful in terms of like linking the residents with opportunity and resources. And so we have good linkage with our vice chair of research at both sites, again, to serve as a resource for residents, no matter what you want to do, whether it's curriculum design, something that's more like IRB research heavy, or something else like quality improvement, et cetera. So if you're interested, there's a person that's probably doing it that you can find at one of those sites or even one of the other NYP affiliates as well, Brooklyn, Queens. We also have an opportunity for residents to do clinical work and research at Lower Manhattan Hospital. So lots of different, again, like opportunities, people for the residents to link up with to, you know, again, develop themselves from a scholarly output perspective.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I love the most is when I ask the residents, like, how many mentors do you have in the program? They're like, well, you know, we've got the program leadership. I've got my clinical competency leader. I've got my one of 17 different academic practice track leaders that I can talk to. And then just the people like my personal folks too. So it's really, really nice that there's that professional development because, you know, we talk about in medicine, you just don't know what you don't know. And the best thing about emergency medicine is you're literally doing like mentorship like at 2 or 3 in the morning. So it's like fantastic. All right, Christy, how would you describe the culture of the program?
So, I mean, again, biased because I'm here, but I think the big thing that sets, I think, our program apart is actually, and I think this is probably not what a lot of people would say, but good linkage between our like administration and quality improvement leadership and our education leadership. And I think that doesn't like on first blush make a lot of sense, but it does. We are really involved in their activities and they're involved in ours. And what that translates to is resident success and us advocating for change for our residents and also our patients. So something happens in the emergency department where we kind of see a gap in the system, a flaw in the system, we can approach our administrative leadership and remedy that and then translate that also into like an educational initiative. And I really feel like the relationship kind of between those two that I think often are siloed is very much connected and a very positive relationship, which is unique. And the other thing that I think also kind of speaks to culture, again, maybe not totally intuitive, is looking at our faculty and our faculty retention. Our faculty members at both sites are lifers. Like we talk about Oz, one of our associate program directors, how long has he been in the program?
It's like 20 plus years.
20 plus years. Like he's been there, you know, since the very start. A lot of our faculty, sorry about the child.
It's all right, it's all right. Kids are great.
You know, are also there for life. They might have graduated from the program or done a fellowship at the program and stayed on. So I also think that that kind of speaks to, you know, the program itself in terms of like retaining our own. I think a lot of our residents, you know, the only reason why they're kind of going outside of NYP is because they're just kind of wanting to go home. But otherwise, you know, we do a good job, I think, retaining our residents that want to stay with us. And also our faculty that just love being there and love working with the patients that we work with, love doing, again, like their scholarly work that they've really been invested in. So I think kind of seeing that retention, seeing the engagement, seeing like the fulfillment that our faculty have, I think translates and kind of trickles down to our residents.
Couldn't have said it any better. I think that's our time. And I just wanted to also say thank you and mad respect to all of our program leaders across New York City. If you're choosing any program, you really can't go wrong. So I'm excited you have a chance to see them. Reach out to all of us. We're here for you and we champion you, and we can't wait to hand you that banner and teach you the art, the love for emergency medicine. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Just as with Dr. Jones, if you want to drop your contact information in the chat, that'd be perfect. Yeah, thank you. And the next program we have up is NYU. We have Dr. Charlene Johnson and Dr. Annalie von Reinhardt with us today. If you guys have anything to share on your screen, go ahead and do that, and I will just spotlight you.
Okay.
I dropped our contact info in the chat, and I apologize for crying baby in the background.
No worries.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Char Johnson. I'm one of the APDs here at NYU Bellevue. And I'm really happy to be here. I'm very happy to take this time to basically tell you a little bit about our program. Similar to Jacobi in some sense, we are a program that has multiple sites. We are located, or two primary sites, which is a combination of Bellevue, which is an HHC public hospital, and NYU, which is our quaternary care referral center, like academic institutions located basically in the middle of Manhattan. We are right on the edge of Midtown here, which puts us in a very unique location. We get a lot of New Yorkers, of course, we get a lot of travelers, we get people from all over basically coming in, and we are more or less the hospital of Lower Manhattan. One of the things that we definitely want to highlight within our residency, of course, is no matter where you train, especially as a resident, you're going to get good training, you're going to get amazing teaching. So we, as everyone here will say, you want to go somewhere that you will love and you will be loved, if that makes sense. We have 18 residents per year in our class, and basically they come from a variety of different backgrounds. We basically have diversity in age, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and even family status. We have residents that are single, we have people who get married and have children and make it through the program, and all of this is available and like important to us because our residents are our family, and as they go through this like learning process, we want to ensure that they are supported. We have a couple of pictures. This is almost our entire residency basically together after a Wednesday conference. So in terms of our leadership, we have 4 APDs. You can see all of us there, and our current program director is Dr. Manco. Dr. Manco has been with NYU his entire career at this point. I want to say in excess of 20 years, but wherever he is, if that number is not right, he may find me. But these are our chief residents together, basically telling you a little bit more about the site, what NYU has to offer that is a little bit different than the other hospitals in New York City, is we have 4 different clinical sites that our residents rotate through. Of course, there is Bellevue ED, which is the oldest emergency department in the country. It is one of the oldest medical institutions in the country as well. We are a level 1 trauma center. This is a safety net hospital, and it is truly resident run. Now, this is where you get a lot of your bread and butter emergency medicine. And this is also where you truly understand that emergency medicine is the front lines of society. You see the best and the worst, you see the ills, and it really does inspire our residents to kind of look critically at why we see certain things in the emergency department, why certain EDs see things that other EDs don't. And I think it really does help us create residents that critically evaluate what problems are there, and to basically help think of solutions. Innovation is very important to us and very important to our residents, and the act of problem solving, not just identifying problems, but figuring out where to go next. Just down the road, of course, is NYU Tisch. This is our quaternary referral center. You will see LVADs here. You will see things that you've only ever read about in textbooks. Every shift at Tisch, you will see or hear about something that you've probably never heard about before. So this gives our residents basically the zebras that we all learn about in medicine, that we have to try and figure out, okay, I read about this once, where do I go from here? We have a very good relationship with our subspecialty services, so there's a lot of learning that happens on shift here, a lot of procedures. You do pediatrics at both sides, so you get kind of a very subspecialized high acuity peds at Tisch, along with general peds at Bellevue. And then we have Brooklyn. Our Brooklyn ED is a very special place. It feels very similar to a community site. It is a level 1 trauma center. There are residents distributed throughout the ED, and you get very good bread and butter EM. The acuity here is very good, very high. And then our last site, which is rather unique, especially in New York City, is that the residents get an opportunity to rotate through Cobble Hill, which is a freestanding emergency department. What that means is that as the resident in the room, you're there with your attending, and there is 1 EM attending on and 1 PEM attending on, and that's it. There's nobody else in the hospital. So you really do get a chance to get hands-on experience with ortho and ENT and optho, different procedures that depending on where you practice, sometimes you're calling a consultant to get some of these things done, or residents really get to kind of get in there and to get very comfortable with these decisions. Can I do this? When do I do this? When do I need to transfer these patients? Which goes into basically, we produce residents that go into all walks of life. Our residents are both in academic institutions, program directors, and program leaderships all across the country, and also in community sites. And they feel comfortable when they graduate, basically being in any situation that the wide variety of emergency medicine can kind of throw at you. And I do think this milieu of training sites definitely gives them that opportunity. In terms of what the rest of the residency is like, very similar to most residencies in the city. Wednesday is our conference day. We also have multimodal or sim day once a month. We try to ensure that our residents get not just good conference and didactic teaching, but good hands-on training to keep everybody it has to be fun, and people have to be interested, right? And then, like I said, what it boils down to in residency is family. Wellness is very important to us as a residency, and we do try to ensure that our residents have time outside of the emergency department to spend time together to decompress. We have a wellness committee that tries to have a couple events that happen throughout each quarter. Basically, we're right next to Broadway, so we go to Broadway shows. There's spin classes, there's yoga classes, there's things in Central Park, and this kind of lets our residents have an opportunity to not just intermix with each other, but get to know the faculty, to kind of create those relationships, those mentorship, those bonds that not just serve them throughout residency, but throughout the rest of their career. This is pretty similar to where our location is, where these are basically our current interns together during that month of orientation, where everybody forgets what it's like to be in emergency medicine before we get back into the ED. Just some other pics. And one other thing to mention, yeah, of course, every class has an annual retreat where they kind of get together, they get to spend time together, not just with them, but with program leadership as well, to get, once again, that mentorship, those one-on-one moments that kind of define what the rest of your career will be. I don't know how much time I have left, but probably close to the end.
Yeah, I think that's about it, unless you had anything else.
Shar, can you just throw up the last slide?
Yes, thank you for that. So we'll be having a couple of open houses this year, the virtual open house, because COVID is still our friend here in New York City hanging around. Please feel free to scan the QR code and RSVP. There will be 3 basically pre-interview season, and then we'll have a couple throughout the interview season as well.
So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot either of us an email, come to one of our info sessions, feel free to spread that flyer far and wide. And thanks so much for having us. And thanks so much for coming in, Betty.
Okay, thank you guys. I will also have all of this, like all these QR codes, all these flyers and stuff compiled and send them out to everyone who came to our event. So if you missed any of them, don't worry. And I see you dropped your contact in the chat. Okay, thank you. I think we're going to move on to our next program. We have Dr. Scott Leuchten from Barnabas. And let's see, if you just go ahead and spotlight you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity for me to talk about St. Barnabas. And hopefully you're sharing my screen. St. Barnabas is also located in the Bronx. So thanks for the opportunity to let me introduce us to you. So we're 4 years, 15 residents a year. It gives us 60 residents a year, a nice size for a residency. We've also been in business for a while, 32 years. We started back in 1990 as an osteopathic program, made the jump to the ACGME since 2016. And so we have greater than 350 alumni out in the country practicing. They're a great resource for us. They're proud of their training here, and they're a great thing. Like many other programs, but we have academic tracks. We have 3 months dedicated in your residency in the 4 years to your academic track. And that's important in trying to find your niche in emergency medicine. Build what you are interested in, build what's unique about your career into that 3 months. And so that's a great 3 months of time. They range everywhere from administration to education to global health and social emergency medicine and to ultrasound. And so we have 8 current academic tracks. And so that's a really great time to bring us there. We actually do most of our practice in-house. And so unlike some of the other programs here, we do 90% of our rotations here at St. Barnabas. And so so you're able to get comfortable, you're working with each other, you're working with the same nurses and teams. You have a nice comfort level as you learn how to practice. And so we have your traumas, we have your strokes, we have your stomach, we have everything you need to see here. We have your pediatrics. And so it works really well. But 90% of our rotations happen here at St. Barnabas. We're dedicated to our zip code. Mike Jones brought up before for Jacobi about taking care of the Bronx, and we're taking care of the Bronx. We're taking care of our zip code, 10457, one of the poorest zip codes in the state. And so we're here working with our patients, with our community on many of the social determinants of health, and that service, if you're interested in it, we're a place where we take that really strongly. And it's really part of who we are and a big part of our makeup. And so if that's something that interests you, join us here. We have a nice mix of community and academic place. There's no specialties or fellows take our procedures. We're very resident run ED. We have no PAs or NPs, and so we're very resident run. But we also have the opportunity to do academic opportunities, and so we have academic opportunities with CUNY. Our residents had 23 posters, presentations, abstracts just presented last year at national or regional conferences. And so our residents are really productive and able to show their skills and their abilities throughout the country. And so that we're really proud of their thing there. And the other thing that I have to mention is, because I have to brag a little bit, I apologize, I have to brag a little bit. We won the 2022 Sano Games. So for those who don't know, SAEM has an annual competition. 70 programs enter, or 70 plus programs enter, and we won this year, we're really proud of our residents there. Dr. Gian, who graduated in June, Dr. Chetta, one of our chief residents, and Dr. Julie Clemenson brought us home the trophy, and so that's sitting down in the office, and we're really proud of that. And my ultrasound division says I have to talk about that at every single event I do. So we're really proud of that and our residents and the education we provide here. Thanks for listening. We have lots of other opportunities to get to know us. I have our Twitter, our Instagram, and our website up there. Feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for the opportunity to get to talk a little bit about what makes us special, and I appreciate your time this evening. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. The Sono Games is hard to beat. So thank you for sharing. Up next, we have Dr. Shivani Modi from Maimonides.
Hi, guys.
Did you have any screens to share?
I don't have any slides to share. You just look at me.
Go ahead and spotlight you. Okay.
Cool.
You're good to go.
Okay, well, oh, perfect. Okay, so as she said, thank you. My name is Shivani. I am one of the APDs at Maimonides Medical Center in Brooklyn, New York. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm really excited to share a little bit about our program. I'm sorry that I don't have any slides for you guys, but we have all the pictures and all the information on our website here. So feel free to check it out. There's tons of information there. Our program director is Dr. Arlene Chung, who couldn't be here with you tonight, but she says hi, and there's a lot more about her on our website. And then along with myself, we have 4 other APDs for our program. So our hospital is surrounded by the 2.6 million residents of Brooklyn, New York, and our hospital serves an incredibly varied patient population. Our patients speak so many different languages, up to 190 different languages in a single day, to be exact, which is pretty cool. So they all represent many different cultures. And so given the diversity of our patients, our residents have the huge benefit of the firsthand experience of all this unique pathology. And to go along with kind of a lot of the other programs in NYC, we're a comprehensive stroke center, STEMI center, level 1 trauma center, and actually the only pediatric trauma center in Brooklyn. Our program has been fully accredited since 2005. We have 18 residents per class, and we're a 3-year program. Our residents have gone off to many different parts of the country and the world to do fellowship training, to work in academic settings, community practice. And so also on our website, you can see where all of our graduates have gone. Our institution in general, we have a ton of fellowships, which is really great for the training of our residents. Our fellowships, we have ultrasound, med ed, SIM, PEM, admin, and EMS. So tons of opportunities for fellowship. It brings a lot of people from across the country in as fellows. So not only do we have our attendings who have been at MIMO for many, many years, but we get a lot of new blood in there too. So a lot of exposure for our residents. And other perks of our program. So one of my favorites, and if you're wondering where the heck I'm sitting in a supply closet at the US Open. And I was actually just watching Serena and Venus. And so event medicine, yeah, exactly. And so event medicine is definitely a huge perk of our program. Just right now, this week, a lot of our attendings and residents are at Burning Man, working Yankees games. And so we've had recently Harry Styles concerts. So they work a ton at Madison Square Gardens. So it's a huge perk of the program. It's a ton of fun. Again, a lot of exposure. So you get the idea. Beyond that, we really, I think, again, probably like everyone's going to tell you, really value diversity and inclusion. We realize that it makes us all a stronger and healthier community. It's so helpful for our patients. And so our program, our family as a program, we welcome residents from all races, genders, social classes, and sexual orientations. And, we've really emphasize that a lot in our reviewing of applications this year and last year and over the last few years, and also include that as part of our interview process. And so it's definitely something that we have been working on. To go along with that, we have like our own FemEM within our organization and also within our department to help support our women into leadership roles. And so if you look through our website, you'll really see that a lot of our leadership is women, which is really cool. It's a good way for us to kind of work together and navigate the gender disparities in medicine. And then finally, we place a huge emphasis on wellness. So you'll probably know that Arlene Chung speaks a lot nationally on wellness. And so for her, that's a huge important factor of our program. But our residents have Tuesday nights off before every conference on Wednesday. We also have residency retreat where we take our residents to a resort for 3 days, which is a ton of fun. Class dinners, we take all our third years to ASAP. And then the mentorship, we think mentorship goes a really long way. So obviously the organic mentorship that forms just amongst who you meet, but then also we have mentorship families where we have our PGY 1s, 2s, 3s, and in attending as a family, and you meet at least 3 or 4 times a year, if not more. So you kind of have this built-in support system that you get right as you come in as an intern. We also provide a mentorship program for all of the med students that rotate through our program. We really pride ourselves on just our residents loving each other, and the faculty. Our faculty and residents hang out a ton. There's not really any hierarchy there. And I think if you ask our residents, and if you kind of look through a lot of the photos on our website, you'll see that we're really just one big happy family, and no one ever really likes to leave. Everyone who does leave always wants to come back. And so for us, it's really important that our residents and our students are really happy and that they are where they want to be. And we want to train you to become incredibly capable emergency medicine physicians who can go and practice anywhere that you choose. So those are just some of the highlights. Please take a look at our website. I think there's a lot more on there that you can learn about us. And then please obviously feel free to email us with any questions. I will put my email address and Dr. Arlene Chung's email address in the comments as well. But thank you again for joining us today, and thank you for having me tonight to speak with you guys.
Thank you, Dr. Modi. We love hearing about women in leadership, especially in EM. So thank you for sharing. Okay, I will take down your contact information from the chat. And up next we have Dr. Billy or William Caputo from Staten Island. I'm just going to go ahead and make you co-host really quick. And yeah, you are good to go.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, let's get this going. So hi, everyone. Thanks for checking us out tonight. Something I look forward to every year. And I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about Staten Island. I know you've heard about a lot of different programs, and I feel like there's 2 types of people in the world: people who don't know about Staten Island, and then people who love Staten Island or don't want to face us in competitions and knows that we bring the heat. So basically, our program's 3 years. We have 10 residents a year, so 30 residents in total. We have fellowships in education, administration, international, EM, and ultrasound. We did something cool this last year for our 30 residents. We have a procedure team, so 5 weeks of the year, part of their rotations is doing procedures on admitted patients. So we found a way to steal procedures from the inpatient team, and we do a ton already. Do a lot of international medicine stuff. Our ultrasound division is Sano and Staten. We are the creators of the Battle for the Borough, which is our regional lecturing competition that we do every year, and we're the reigning champs of. These are my people. So you see Dr. Basile and my others, my APDs. Dr. Swami is one of our people. He's our MedEd Fellowship co-director and lectures to us all of the time now. We have 2 sites. So our tertiary care center, our main center is Staten Island North, 93,000 visits a year. Staten Island itself has 500,000 people and there's 3 hospitals. We have 2 of them. So even in a place like Brooklyn that has 1.6 million, there's a lot more hospitals in Brooklyn and the Bronx. Staten Island is really our 2 hospitals, are the best ones on the island. Our North Hospital has basically everything you could imagine. We do ECMO, interventional stroke, cardiac cath. We have a burn center. We had a lot of transfers out from Brooklyn, sometimes other places on Staten Island. Our South site is the community exposure that you guys can get. So that's fast paced. The wait time to be seen from hitting the door is 5 minutes. Everything runs really quickly. You do all of the procedures on your own. So it's really not calling many consultants. If there's a procedure to be done in the ED in either site, it's us doing that, whether that's orthopedic reduction, transvenous pacers, fascia iliaca blocks. But this really gets you ready for community medicine on graduation. We are on social, so our Instagram account, SIUHEM Residency. If you'd like, follow us. I think it gives a good insight what the residents are. This is a resident run Instagram account. We are on Twitter, Staten Island EM. Our lecture, one of the things in our program really looks to do is to try and make the best lecturers around. We want to make you guys the next Swami Nathans, the next Scott Weingart. So put a lot of time in lecture development with the residents. And this was our last conference. We had this for our medical students and residents. So we do lecture development workshops. We get you guys really ready for public speaking and taking that next step. We are starting the Only in Staten podcast. So we'll get some, we're starting to record content as we speak. So you're going to be taught how to podcast and publish. Having Swami here is definitely a help with that. And our TEE training is also on the way and happening. So our ultrasound division trained, and we're going to start TEE training for the residents next month. We are also big on diversity and wellness. We have a scholarship for our rotating students to come that they can apply for. 2 of our winners last year, both were in our intern class, which we're very excited about. We have a link tree with a couple of cool things. Our graduation video was also on that. We are the reigning champs of a bunch of things. So lecturing is important. We have the battle for the borough champs. That was 4 residencies in total. The all New York City defending SimWar champs. And at Cord, we won every award for the Emmer quiz show. So they renamed it the SIUHEM games, and we're the triple champs. So we're going to continue that winning tradition onward. So hope to get to see some of you guys around interview season. Please reach out to us. I put my contact information in the chat box already. And please speak to any of our rotating students or the residents. I think you'll get a real good feel for who we are, what we're about, and what we want to do in the future. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Dr. Caputo. That was awesome. I think we're gonna have Dr. Chris Hahn up next from Mount Sinai, Morningside West.
Great, thank you so much for having me. And it's great to see these, everyone from these other programs here as well. I am unfortunately not at the US Open. I am in my basement, so not quite as cool on that front. But I am the Associate Program Director at Mount Sinai Morningside West. Chen He was out on maternity leave up until this week, and she is back, but unfortunately she already had a prior obligation, so she could not be here tonight. So I will be here to represent. So Mount Sinai Morningside West, I don't have any slides to share, and as you'll see in the chat, our website still has SLR EM, because that is who we have been since about 1991. We were St. Luke's Roosevelt, and then maybe 6 or 7 years ago, we merged with Mount Sinai and now have become Mount Sinai Morningside West. And it's really only added to the program in the sense that we are still the same group at our core, but now have the ivory tower resources behind us and a lot of connections with faculty all across the system, which branches out all across New York City and Long Island, where residents can work together. So I guess the few things to say where, you know, we stand out as unique, because I think a lot of overlap you probably noticed between a lot of the programs, is that we are one of the few 3-year programs in Manhattan. We are in the Upper West Side. Our 2 main hospitals where we rotate are Mount Sinai Morningside, which is in West Harlem, and Mount Sinai West. So Mount Sinai Morningside is a trauma center, stroke center. It's the place where a lot of the cardiothoracic surgery is done. It's the cath lab, et cetera. Mount Sinai West is more of a community hospital, but with a lot of subspecialty support, including a neurosurgical ICU. It's where a lot of the neurosurgery cases and neurology cases and high-level stroke cases in the Mount Sinai system will be transferred to. So you get quite a mix of patients at Mount Sinai West, including a lot of the tourist medicine, which is starting to come back with Broadway, Central Park, all of the Port Authority, Madison Square Garden, all of the cruises coming in on the Hudson River. That's our catchment area. So you see a wide variety of cases and patients from just all over the world, which is New York City. So one of the things I think that we emphasize in the program is that even in 3 years, we want people to be just clinically superior, where you go somewhere and you never say the words, I don't know how to do that. And there's a few ways of doing that in the sense that how do you build a program that actually offers that? So one, we have an enormous amount of support from our divisions. So simulation division, ultrasound, global health, which is now branched out to connect with the Indian Health Service. So not only are you rotating in New York City at 3 sites, so Morningside West and Beth Israel, which is another kind of more community site in downtown Manhattan, we now have the opportunity for you to have an elective in South Dakota, which is totally rural and in the middle of nowhere and far different from what the New York City experience is like. So it's a way to kind of expand the diversity of what you see. So we also offer a resident director role. So even in your 3rd year, if you're interested in something, administration, ultrasound, et cetera, we connect you with leaders and have you build scholarship and a resume around that. So whether or not you're going into community medicine or a fellowship or an academic job, you're able to kind of have the resume and the wherewithal to be able to perform in that position. Now, one of the things that I also emphasize is that when I was applying, I didn't really think about volume and staffing. That wasn't something that really came to mind. But if you think about the number of patients coming into an emergency department versus the amount of providers that are there, you want to have a good balance. You don't want to be having to, be working too fast where you're not spending enough time with patients. And you also want to be able to see enough cases and don't want things to be too slow. So we have gone from 14 to 20 residents in this expansion connecting with Mount Sinai. And so we are very much in that Goldilocks zone where you have a lot of patients coming in, but you have ample opportunity to be able to sit, speak with your attending and learn on shift. And that is how I view wellness. It's the idea that you go into work and you have the support that you need and the amount of shift overlap. So you can go and do a lumbar puncture and feel like you're not drinking from a fire hose when you get back to the desk and there's 20 new patients to be seen and no one else is there to help you. And that is a huge part of who we are in the sense of trying to build in wellness into the program. And honestly, it's to me the most important thing that we have. It's the reason why I came here and it's the reason why I stay, because the group is kind of like annoyingly tight knit. It's the place where, you kind of see people from, the outside and you might find it, a touch annoying, but when you're in it, it's amazing, especially in residency, because there's no place where you're going to go through such a big transformation where you want to have that level of support. So I've been here since I graduated from residency. Chen was a sub-I here. She was a resident here. She was a chief here. She's faculty here, and she has kind of batted the cycle and is here for life. And that's how a lot of people are in the program because they love being part of it. A couple other things to mention. I will kind of mention the same things that Dr. Caputo said in terms of conference. We we mentor every single resident talk. One of the APDs will be doing that. One of our APDs is Jenny Beck-Esme, who, similar to Swami, she's the CEO of FemInM. She's on MRAP. She's kind of has a big footprint in the foam world, which kind of allows us to allow our residents to expand scholarship in that area. And we try to, again, raise the standard of the talks that are given. I will just say a couple other things about the program and kind of living in the Upper West Side, which is great. We subsidize the housing, and we find it very important to be connecting with the community, which you've heard from other programs, but we also have a JEDI committee, Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, where we have core faculty that are dedicated to that specifically, including developing mentorships with local high schools. So we are kind of mentoring them through a longitudinal program in pursuing STEM careers. We also are starting kind of visits to SROs, shelters, nursing homes in the area. Like, what is it like where your patients are coming from? What are we discharging them to? How can we improve that? So you can actually see it in person. And part of that is also developing patient education kind of projects and building scholarly work off of that. So I think it's just kind of a little piece of what we have to offer. I put the website in the chat. I will also add my email as well, and feel free to reach out at any point. And I wish you guys all the best in your residency applications. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you so much. Just a quick shout out, because the previous chair of this committee is actually now an intern over at Mount Sinai Morningside West. And she's who got us in contact with Dr. Han. And our next program is Rochester. So we have Dr. Ryan Bodkin, who's here with us today.
Good evening, everyone. I do have a single slide to share, so I will share that real quick. Yeah. Make that bigger so you can see it. Excellent. So my name is Ryan Bodkin. I'm the program director at the University of Rochester. It's so nice to get a chance to speak with all. And as the lone representative of, I guess, upstate in Western New York, I want to say go Bills right off the bat. Get that out of the way. We're super excited about the season. I'm also super excited to tell you about our program. I think we really have a lot to offer. University of Rochester is located right in downtown Rochester, in the kind of middle of the city. And like some other similar counties in New York City, Monroe County, where Rochester is located, is an incredibly poor and underserved area. High amount of violence and high amount of low income and low socioeconomic status patients that require our care and come to our ED for care. Our primary training site is a large academic center at the University of Rochester called Strong Memorial Hospital. It has about 120,000 visits per year, and it's kind of a center of excellence for pretty much everything and the only game in town. So we're the level 1 trauma center, we're the burn center, stroke center, cath center, cancer center, ECMO, LVAD, transplant, kind of everything comes to Strong Memorial Hospital that is sick and complex and needs high quality care. So our residents do primarily most of their emergency medicine at that location and see a huge variety of incredibly sick patients. We have a 27% admit rate, and about 13% of those patients go to an ICU level of care or step down. So really, really sick patient population with really complex care that our residents, I think, get outstanding training with. We know that about 60% of our residents that graduate do go into community medicine practice. So we afford them the ability at 3 different sites throughout Rochester to get experiences in different types of practice settings. A large kind of community ED that's right near us, a very small community ED that's very rural, that's south of us in the Finger Lakes region, which is beautiful this time of the year and the fall as well. And then we also have a freestanding ED that a lot of places are going to as well. So you get the experience of working there as a senior resident that provides a lot of autonomy, and obviously with no supporting cast there, you're pretty much doing everything. Rochester is the home of the biopsychosocial model of medicine. And we understand very clearly that the social aspects of people's lives completely impact their healthcare. We really focus on all aspects to provide holistic care for our residents and for our patients that come through. Similar other big academic sites has been discussed. We have lots of fellowships programs, lots of subspecialty programs, and really a high focus on physician and resident wellness. We also have protected didactic time. So our residents conference is on Thursdays, not Wednesdays like the city, but we are off the night before at 11, and then you don't work again the following day until 11 p.m., even if you're on a night shift, which is only about 6 or 7 of our residents that have a night shift. So you have almost 24 hours free each week to be able to take care of your personal needs, spend time with your co-residents, and enjoy life and stay well and healthy so that you can be a good resident and a good physician. We have a huge alumni network. We've been a physician training program since 1994. with lots of network across the country and lots of people that help our residents get jobs, as well as mentorship and things like that. Few pictures of our residents here. We got our lovely second years and third years at graduation, our brand new interns, our most recent Feminiam event here, one of our medical director's houses, and then one of our orientation pictures here. You can see up here in the top corner, we have our QR code that will link you to our website, which has our Twitter account, a lot of information, as well as our Instagram account, and all the contact information that you'll need. So I'll put my stuff in the chat as well. If you want to contact me, I'd be happy to hear from you. Super excited about interview season. Like somebody said, it's busy and kind of chaotic, but it's also a really fun time of the year to meet all sorts of new people that are excited about emergency medicine like you all. So nice to meet you all. I really appreciate the time. I'm so grateful to be welcomed back as the Western New York representative here. So thank you all.
Hey, thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, we have Kings County here with us. This is Dr. Carolina Camacho Ruiz. And another shout out, we have the chair, 2 chairs before me is now an intern also over there.
Hello, all. My name is Carolina Camacho. You're seeing my slides or my presenter now?
Yeah, you can see your screen.
Okay, but not my presenter now, yeah?
No, just the slides. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, so my name is Carolina Camacho Ruiz. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm one of the APDs at Kings County. My program director right now is James Willis, and he's working clinically, so I'm here to represent. I want to talk a little bit about who we are, where we are, and the things that we do. We are a super diverse program with residents from every walk of lives. And a lot of our residents also go into academics. You can see some of our grads around here, like Caputo and also Johnson. And the most important goal for us is to produce residents that are very smart and also very empathetic physicians, and they're connected with our society. We're very dedicated to serve our community, and our commitment is to impact the population that we work on. We are a county hospital, so that means that we are a safety net hospital. One second. Then my computer is having a moment.
Do you want me to share? I have your slide if you want.
Yeah, can you share it for me, please? Yeah. My Wi-Fi is not great, so it's...
Okay, can you guys see this?
Yes.
How do I present this?
It's okay, I can try if you're able to.
Slideshow.
There we go. Okay.
All right. Perfect. So we are a safety net hospital. We're in Brooklyn. So this house, everyone mentioned, a lot of people live around here. So we take care of a community that has a lot of needs, especially primary care. And that is the thing that we do. We receive everyone and we don't complain, and we work hard for them and make sure that they're safe. And also we are if you keep moving, we're also working we also have a university attached, SUNY Downstate Medical Center, one of the only one actually in Brooklyn that have a medical school attached to it, which actually gives us the opportunity to work with the medical school and be educators, and a lot of our faculty dedicate a lot of their time, also our residents, to work with the medical school and do workshop, teach them. So if there's something that you're interested, especially in medical education, this is a great opportunity for you. And even interns, second years, and they're already working with the medical school, which is super cool and important. We are a 4-year program in emergency medicine. Also, we have a combined internal medicine, emergency medicine program. And also we have a critical care fellowship that is 6 years also. And we are very big residency. We're one of the biggest residencies of the United States. We have around 100 residents in total. So that also gives us the opportunity to have people across the United States in very important positions like leadership, academia. The president of CORE, and is right now is a county grad also. where we are and who do we serve. So we're in central Brooklyn. So we serve mostly the East Flatbush community, and our population mostly is Afro-Caribbean immigrants with gentrification. So it's changing a little bit, but that is mostly the community that we serve. So a lot of immigrants without insurance, and that is the reason that we are a safety net hospital. And this is a statistic, is a little bit old, so there's kind of like no important, but mostly our community is Afro-American, has also Afro-Caribbean, and mostly all of them are Black and Hispanics. Wellness, super important for us also, is very embedded in our curriculum. We have workshops, we have also talks with like psych and psychologists, we have workshops. We try to give the residents what they need. So for creating this curriculum is all feedback from the resident and what is important to them. And also we have a parental policy that is very well established. So a lot of our residents decide to start a family or have a family and they need some time. So we already talk to them and we try to give them what they need to make that time of their life really something that they enjoy. And they don't have to stress about residency. We're really diverse. So as I mentioned before, we welcome everyone from like different walks and distant travel. And that is what we really enjoy about our residency. And because it's so big, we have so many different people. And for many, many years, we've been doing holistic reviews. So we really want you to be different and bring something that no one else has. And just to bring the spice to make this a little bit fun. We do a lot of like social IM, is embedding our curriculum also. This is Dr. Gore. He was one of the CNN heroes. He started something that is called CAVI. It's a organization that tried to combat violence in another way. Instead of when people suffer any trauma, we try to follow these people to give them the strategies to don't go and do other like violent incident in the community, and try to give them the tools to be successful. This is our residents also here in the 2-5 police brutality after the death of Floyd. And this is something that the residents created. I was everything organized by the resident, and the medical school gave us the support because they know that was really, really important. We have a lot of mini fellowships also, because we have so many residents and so much faculty. We can divide. There's a lot of like food and journal clubs that residents actually participate. And then at the end of residency, you can receive a mini fellowship completion. There's a lot of them has a specific criteria that you have to complete to be part of it. And a lot of the residents do 1 or 2 or 3, or you don't have to do anything. You can only participate if you want to, if this is something important for you. And then also that can help you to find a niche in emergency medicine. We also have mentorship. A lot of our residents has a family, and they go out, they support each other. And I try to pair them in things that they actually they have some relationship and they enjoy. I don't know if you like ultrasound, I try to put you with someone that also enjoy ultrasound, that you can have someone to talk and guide you in the process especially when you're looking for a job, and support you during the residency. There's families are smaller and bigger. So on a few of them are more like going out. Some of them are more quiet, but depending who you are, we can move you around and also help you to give you the tools to pass this like 4 or 5 years or 6 years that you're gonna spend with us. If you need any more information, this is my email. I'm gonna give you my personal email because I have like too many institutional emails and sometimes I get confused with which I have to answer. So this is my personal email. If you have any questions, please send me an email. And in the next page, we have our social media. Our residents are very active in there. It's run by the residents, especially the Instagram is really fun. So take a look. If you have any other questions, you can send me an email.
All right, thank you so much. So that concludes the panelist portion of the event. I just want to take another minute to thank every single one of you guys for coming here and speaking about your program. This is a pretty rare opportunity for students like us who are in different stages of medical school, kind of all over the country and all over the world. We have a number of IMGs who tune into these talks as well to come and learn about your programs. We do have, a number of you guys submitted questions. We can't get to all of them, unfortunately. I know we were like a little overtime as well. If any of the panelists do need to leave the Zoom, because I know the commitment was from 7 to 8 p.m., please feel free to do so. But we will just kind of dive into a couple of questions. I'm going to hand it over to Rachel to get us started.
Thank you again for joining us today. I just wanted to say that I'm going to be choosing one or two of you to answer the questions, but if anyone else has some input they'd like to share, please feel free afterwards. So the first question is, what are the top things you look at when reviewing applications? And can Dr. Garg and Dr. Leuchten answer that?
Scott, do you want to go first?
Yeah, it's up to you. I'll go first. Thanks, Manish. We're trying to, when I look at an application, I'm trying to look at how, the entirety of you. I'm trying to get to know you. I'm trying to see what makes you special, what kind of person you are, right? And we're looking for the skills that we can't teach, right? We're looking for the ability to work hard, to be honest, and care for their patients. And we're trying to see those things that we can't teach. And all these programs here can teach those attributes. And so we're trying to get a picture of you, and we're trying to see those, at least for me, those characteristics that demonstrate what's going to make you a fantastic physician that I can't kind of teach at this point.
Yeah, I would echo that same sentiment. I think one of the most important things we're trying to do is we've really blown up our screening process. We're really trying to go holistic and humanistic. So we looked at the core values of our program, which are compassion, interpersonal skills, and actually like work ethic, because we realized that I can teach you medicine, but if you don't have that like clinical motor, it's really hard. And I think you also have to fit within the vision. The vision, we're trying to create the next leaders of tomorrow. And so trying to find that in people and folks who are willing to utilize all of our resources. I mean, I think like you heard so many amazing things that you could probably, you can get at any one of these programs. So if one of my passions is global medicine. So if you love global medicine, I want to know what you've done. I want to show you that we have connections to the CDC and the United Nations and MSF and WHO. So we can make those connections happen. And that's like in every domain, in every discipline. So I just want to see how you would utilize our program and utilize our resources and our mentors. And so I think that's what we look for in a person. And I think that's what really creates that awesome fit and family feel, because you got that connection to mentors and you kind of got that connection to the resources of the institution.
Thank you so much. And our next question is, what are the benefits of a 3-year program? Dr. Hahn and Dr. Modi, do you mind speaking to that?
Yes. Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So I think a 3-year program essentially allows you to finish residency a year faster. So I think that that's the obvious, but if you have the appropriate 3-year program where you can build a niche into your development and building your scholarly work and your resume and your job application and have that mentorship and support through it, that's that can potentially be the right fit for you. You want to choose a program where you're going to get enough clinical experience in those 3 years in order to kind of reach the level that you need to be. The other thing that, as someone who graduated from a 4-year program myself, I think on average, a person who goes to a 3-year program and does a 1-year fellowship compared to an average 4-year graduate who may or may not have built their own niche is going to be very competitive in that subspecialty in which they're choosing that fellowship in after 4 years. So you kind of have to decide how you want to spend your time, but it is a model that I think a lot of people like. Some people like to have an accelerated pathway to a fellowship, and some people like to have an accelerated pathway into a community job, but where they can have a very competitive application and land where they want to be.
Thank you for answering that. I could not have said that any better myself. I just want to reemphasize, I think, you know, you really have to look at a program's curriculum to decide and like kind of their supporting resources. So the mentorship, if they have like scholarly tracks, what do they offer you? And is that going to fit your learning style and your needs to get through residency? Because I don't think any one person should say, I want to do 3 years to get through residency faster. Wherever you do residency and for however many years, and whether or not that includes a fellowship, should basically get you to the point where you are going to be an extremely capable emergency medicine physician and get what you need from the program. So if you know that you know, you need a few more months in the ED versus if you want more time spent doing research or more time spent on electives or, you know, those scholarly tracks to help you get your niche, then that's how you should decide what program you're going to be going to and whether 3 or 4 is better for you.
Thank you again. We have a few other 3-year programs on the call. So does anyone else want to chime in before we move on? Okay, that's okay. We'll move on. So the next question is, how does someone show interest in a New York City program if they didn't have a chance to do an away here? Dr. Jones answering that?
Great. Thank you, Rachel. So how do you show interest in a program? I think one, you come here, you come to events like this. I think the next way to show interest, if you're capable of doing it, try to come join us, try to come rotate. You don't have to rotate with me necessarily, but if you are not from New York, come check out and hang out with one of us. And that lets me know that you're interested in us, you want to be in New York. The last way to show interest is just say it. Just send me an email and say, hey, I know I'm from California or I'm from, you know, Florida or whatever, but I really want to give New York City a try. And here's why. Be honest, be genuine, be thoughtful, say something a little bit about who I am, who, you know, Manish is, or who, you know, any of our other people that are here, who they are, and be, like I said, be genuine. And I think that should be enough to demonstrate interest. The one last thing, if you are a student who is very interested in New York and you're interested for a reason, ask your mentor or your, you know, the PD at your program or the APD at your program to reach out to us. We are a very small, tight-knit community in emergency medicine. I can tell you, and every one of us on this call, on this this conversation, can tell you that we know everyone around the country. And if somebody picks up the phone and says, I know that, you know, Sally is really interested in emergency medicine in New York, and I've worked with her and she's wonderful. Guess what? You just got an interview with me. So use that connection, use that mentor at your home institution to send genuine interest. So.
Does anyone else want to chime in?
I can add to that. So, you know, this year is new and you get to use your tokens as well. So I would definitely use those wisely. And obviously it's not meant to be for programs that you rotated in. So don't waste them on those. Do your homework, get the programs that you really like. If you could visit, great. Almost every program in the New York City area is hosting some type of in-person look or event. So just look and show up to one of those, speak to the residents, and get to really know the program. Come interview day, we kind of have a feel who's going through the motions and ask the generic questions and who really did the homework on questions and spoke on the program and spoke to our residents. So that's what I would add.
Yeah, speaking with the residents, something that we promote, because I think that I give you another perspective. What I can tell you is what maybe something different that will actually tell you another how things work inside, which is actually really important. And also they talk to us also when they like someone, when they have good connection, they always come and send an email like, hey, I work with this person, or I have a talk with this person, it went really well. We are going to be happy to have this person in our residency, because that is about, you're going to spend 4 years with this people. So you want to know that you're going to connect with them, and the residents want to also connect with the new residents. So that is super important.
Thank you again. And I know we're running a little bit over time, so I just wanted to wrap up with one last question because we have a lot of IMGs on the call. They were wondering if you have any advice for applicants who weren't able to secure an away rotation. Dr. Botkin and Dr. Camacho, would you be willing to chime in?
Sure. Do you want to go first or me? Doesn't matter.
You can go first, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think the first thing I do is do a search like anybody else would. Find the programs that are the best fit for you, that meet the requirements of where you want to go, and that are going to give you the training that you need. I would also take a look at the resident profiles. If they have resident profiles that go back for years and years, they've never matched somebody from an IMG school, the potential match there might be lower than somewhere else. It might not, but that might be a signal. So if you're looking for specific programs that have matched IMGs in the past, take a look at the resident profiles, reach out to the residents, reach out to the program directors and ask them to find out if it's something. Sometimes it's a sponsorship by the university. They don't allow certain sponsorships. Sometimes they're open to it, but just haven't matched one yet. So ask the questions and look at their profiles, and you'll be able to find programs that train outstanding IMG residents and have accepted many of them, and other ones that have never accepted them and just aren't able to for some reason. So make sure you're looking at their websites and looking at the people they've matched before, and that should give you a good hint of at least where to look. But I really encourage you right off the bat to look for the programs that meet your needs and apply to them and try to get your foot in the door, because there's no reason you shouldn't have the same opportunity as any other graduating medical student. So push from that direction first and take a look deep into their websites, and you should be able to get the information you need.
Yeah, I agree. Also, that is one a good opportunity to send a letter of interest. Also, sending an email to your PD sometimes in the middle of the interview season, if you're like really interested, kind of like explaining who you are and sending your really desire to be interviewed in the residency. Plus, also as the other person today, all the things that I mentioned before, just do your research, because there's a lot of residencies that accept the IMGs. Just you need to like know which ones they are to spend the time doing other.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming. This is I think this is a fantastic event. You know, all 9 programs and all the APDs and PDs who showed up. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and speak about your programs. And I will, as promised, I will send out all the information that the programs have shared with us regarding contact information. I know a lot of you guys have friends who want to see this Zoom, so this will be uploaded onto our YouTube account. I'm just going to drop our social in the chat just so that you guys can look out for future events. We post like newsletters, EKGs of the week kind of thing on our Instagram stories, lots of just fun stuff like that. But again, just wanted to take another minute, just a quick thank you again to all our panelists. I learned a lot from this as a M4 who is applying this year. So hopefully the rest of you guys who are in different stages of your medical school also learned a lot from this. And yeah, if any of the panelists have anything else to say, please do. But otherwise, I'm gonna have us all log off except for just me and Rachel for in a minute or so.
Have fun during the interview season and like actually choose the place that is the perfect place for you, that you are gonna be really happy there. At the end, that is the most important thing.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.